This is Richie from the Metal Cell podcast. I'm delighted to welcome Rob Curran, founder of Clang Metal Festival. How are you, Rob?
Yeah, doing pretty good. Thanks for having me on.
I'm delighted to have you on, and my co-host as usual, Howard. Salute, my friend.
How are you doing? Good to see you all.
Hey, I love the hoodie.
Oh yeah, on the best.
Fucking
representing.
class. So, Rob, how the hell are you anyway? You good? You're settling in nicely into Ireland?
Yeah, no, I have to say, all is well. You know, it looks like we're finally seeing a light at the end of this COVID tunnel. You know, it's been a challenge, not just for everyone, but certainly for anyone trying to run a music festival or put a gig together or get on stage and do anything. It's been a really terrible time.
Yeah.
But I think we're almost there. You know, I think we have a date now that we're really, really confident it's going to happen back, you know, up in March, 26th of March, 22. So
the signs are good. It does seem to be heading in that direction where you're going to start to see shows after Christmas, I think. It's getting easier to forecast in terms of what can happen and when.
I think you're right. Yeah, that's the best way of summing it up, Howard. Yeah.
Nothing's for certain, but, you know, more certain than it was 2 or 3 months ago for sure.
Yeah, I mean, we've had to reschedule a couple of times, and I was really confident about the August date. I really thought it was so far in the future that we'd be fine. And as soon as the year turned, January, February, March rolled around, we just knew, you know, this is risky. This may not happen at all. But thankfully, we've been very lucky. You know, everyone has stuck with us, all the big bands and the Irish bands, and everyone's on board, and we've been able to successfully reschedule. And now I do feel confident. For the first time, we have a date where we're going to be able to have a show. So
let's talk about your background, my man. Whereabouts are you from?
Well, I'm a Boston boy, so kind of born and raised in the States, which you could probably tell. Most people just assume I'm an American, and they're right. But I moved here in 97, so it'll be 24 years in August. So
wow.
I'm more Irish than I am American. I just haven't lost the accent. Unless I have a few pints on me, then I'm from the north side of Dublin when I have a few pints in me. So.
And tell us about Boston when you were growing up, man. Were you into the metal scene? Like, I mean, Boston, there's so much going on there, and I'd say you were spoiled for choice musically wise anyway.
Well, I will admit that, you know, I was an Aerosmith and a Jay Giles fan for sure. You couldn't live in Boston and not like the Jay Giles band. And I used to work as a bouncer, actually, at Mamakin on Lansdowne Road, which is a bar that's owned by Aerosmith. So if we ever have a few points together, I'll tell you some stories from back then.
Is that an Irish bar, Rob?
No, well, it's whatever you need it to be on the night, early. It's it's like a heavy metal. It's Aerosmith own it, and it's sort of a heavy metal themed nightclub / venue. You know, a bit like Fibbers, very much like that. You know, go in.
Okay. I'm sure you're aware we have a Lansdowne Road here, which is a sports venue, or was a sports venue for.
Oh yeah, we copied everything. Oh, everything in Boston is, you know, it's all a knockoff from. For sure. Yeah.
And you were into rock when you were growing up, heavy metal, or?
Yeah. No, I'm kind of more old school. You know, I'm a little bit older, and. Yeah, I grew up in the Ozzy Osbourne phase, you know, Black Sabbath and Bark at the Moon and all that kind of stuff, and early Judas Priest, Maiden. That's kind of where I'm from. You know, that's where I sowed my metal oats, if that's what you want to call it. So, I've just always been into metal. I mean, closet metalhead. People meet me, and they say they had no idea that I'd be into metal. But, I mean, who isn't into metal? You know, all you have to do is listen to it, and you're going to be a fan.
You know, you're preaching to the converted here.
I had someone describe me once. It was on Facebook, I think, just in relation to Clang. And somebody looked me up and said he looks more like a golfer than a metalhead. I can't argue with that. He's right. Whoever he was right. Although I don't play golf, but.
Yeah, and again, business-wise, like... Tell us about your you went to college, what happened? Tell us how you ended up here.
Did the usual bit, you know, went to school in the States, grew up there, went to university, worked in retail for a long time. And then I met an Irish girl in a pub in Boston.
Sounds, yeah.
And kind of did the reverse. I ended up moving back here and getting married. and I've been living here ever since. She's gone, I'm still here. That's what I always tell people.
And what kind of job were you working over in America before you came here? Did you say it was retail, is it?
Yeah, well, I was a younger man then, so I worked in retail. I was a district supervisor, so I kind of traveled around the country and helped retailers open stores. Okay. So it was a good background for what I ended up, becoming as an adult, if you want to call me that. But when I moved to Ireland, I was still in retail, and then I got into IT, and then I got into e-commerce, and the next thing I knew, I was a project manager. So, my life is about planning and delivering. That's what I've been doing for the last billion years. It seems.
It's an unusual mix. It seems to be two worlds that don't really marry well together.
Which ones? Retail or
like project management and things that involve IT and so on. I worked in that sector myself for a little bit, and nobody would have any sense of an alternative view in music or anything like that. It was always something that didn't marry well with each other. I always felt that way anyway, certainly in the offices and so on.
Right.
I'm interested to know, did you put shows on in Boston when you were in the US yourself?
Nope. Never would have even thought about it. I ran a few things there. I used to publish a newspaper. I called it a muse paper. And it was, do you remember the Metro here a few years back?
Yeah.
This was in the middle 90s, I suppose. So it's a long time ago. But what I did is I started up this newspaper from the ground. I had artists and poets and writers and musicians, and they would all submit their stuff, and I would publish it and distribute it through all the colleges, like the Metro in Boston. Okay. And I did that for about 3 years before I decided I'd move to Ireland and gave it up. So that was probably my first foray into, creating something from the ground up on my own. Mm. But when I came over here, I've been project managing, so that's what I do. Like, I have to scope it, I have to price it, I have to plan it, I have to deliver it. I do it day after day. And I kind of got inspired a few years ago. I've been to a lot of metal gigs here. I might be the guy in the back. If it's Sepultura, I'm the guy up in the pit. But I just got inspired. I went to a few gigs, and I'm looking around going, there's not a lot of elements here to manage. There's plenty to worry about. But compared to massive, €1 million projects, this looks very manageable. And I started going to more gigs and more festivals, and I'm looking around, and I'm looking at the security companies, and I'm looking at all the different elements. And my project management mind is rolling away, and my buddies are all big metalheads, and we're going, we could do this. This is a doable thing. And then you have to ask yourself, well, why would I do it? I just pay 50 quid and go. I don't have to worry about it, which would be more my style. I'd rather just pay the 50 quid and go to a gig. But we just start thinking about it. We're like, this could be a good thing. There's a lot of shows and a lot of people are trying to do things, but there's no real support for it. There's a lot of great bands, but you can't get them on a stage supporting a major act. They're always way down the bottom. So we kind of gestated this for a while, if that's the right word, chewed it around for a couple of years. And that's kind of how I work. I'm very slow, thinking about it, working it out. Is it doable? Isn't it doable? And
so what venues were you going to in Dublin at that time, Rob?
The main place. I've been to Lansdowne Road, a few gigs there. Fibbers a lot. The Point, when it was the Point.
Yeah, so it was bigger ones. Were you going to the Academy and Voodoo as well?
Oh, the Academy, Voodoo. Yeah, I went to a lot of the big gigs, I have to admit. I'd go see Metallica, and I'd go see... I saw Ghost. That was probably the last gig I got to really see, was the Ghost gig.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it was December, wasn't it, before things went to shit.
But I kind of got into Fibbers for a while. I keep plugging them here. But, I kept going to these shows and seeing these local bands. I'm like, there's a lot of talent here. There's an awful lot of talent here. And you're never going to go to a Metallica show and see, Words That Burn opening up for them or anything like that. And it's that kind of thinking. We're going, well, we might not get Metallica, but, we could get some good bands to come here. And if we can get the Irish bands to support them and get them some kind of a exposure, let the big bands fill the seats and let the Irish bands steal the show. That's kind of what we started the bandy about. And about 2.5 years ago, maybe, we said, yeah, let's do it. Let's put together a project plan and let's see if it's doable.
So were these buddies of yours, or were they, as you said, guys going to gigs with you?
Oh, friends of mine that are big metalheads. Yeah. Even more so than me. They look the part as opposed to me.
And are any of them involved in like sound engineering, lighting, or?
No, I have to say, I certainly don't have any talent outside of project management. I'll be the first to admit. I've taken guitar lessons, drum lessons, singing lessons, you name it. I've done it. It's not for me. I don't have the talent these guys have. But one of my buddies who's really heavily involved, my right-hand man, I suppose you'd say, he's been in bands and he's gigged and he's played on stage and he looks the part.
Give him a shout out. Who is it?
Well, you might not know, but he subbed in for Wolf Regime for a while. He was the guitarist for Wolf Regime for a few years. Well, not even a few years. Do you remember Wolf Regime?
No. They're Dublin.
No, all right. Well, they're a Dublin band anyway, and he's got another band out now called Ethereum. But
I've heard of Ethereum, all right.
But they haven't been able to do any gigging, obviously, because of everyone else. So, So we're all kind of closet metal. Well, he's not a closet metalhead. He's out there. You'd know by the neck tattoos and everything else. So,
yeah. I suppose the big question really is how do you see? Are you confident that people will go out and support this thing?
Oh no, I'm never confident. I mean, I'm hopeful. I like to think that they'll support the local Irish metal scene. I mean, that's what it's about. I mean, yeah, okay, we have Candlemass, we have Curran, we need them, and I think they're great, So I'm kind of a fanboy at the same time. But if I can get Irish bands to open for these guys and get 1,000 people in, I mean, it sounds doable to me. I think we can do it. I hope people respond to it. It's been slow going. We started off kind of awkwardly, and then we got involved with a really good PR company up in Dublin, and they've kind of really helped us from that side. That's not my strength at all. So they've kind of righted the ship for us there, which is great. So shout out to Oren at Overdrive.
Oren Byrne, yes.
Yeah, tremendous help. So
there's a lot of work with the Bloodstock heats there.
That's right. Yeah, Metal for the Masses and so forth. Exactly. Yeah. So from
bands have seen a lot of success off the back of that. Like the 10 Ton Slug, I think, actually came through that, didn't they?
Yeah, 10 Ton Slug, Dead Label. There's a few.
Yes.
And that's the thing. We want to see those bands at these events, at these shows. And Ireland doesn't really have that. And this event, Clang, is not that. We hope it will be someday.
So you're looking at about 1,000 people, really, in terms of a capacity. In order for you to be
capacity for two. Yeah, we can get 2,000 into the National Stadium. We can actually get a little bit more, but 2,000 would be great. And I really do hope they come out and support. They see Candlemass, Curran, and Green Lung, and then all the Irish bands that are going to be on the bill below that. I hope so. But it seems like
it seems like even with the coronavirus pandemic, it kind of probably suits the show a little bit, because there might be that little bit of extra hunger for people to attend an event like this. Yeah, it's hard to call.
You're right, Howard. We were hoping that August would be it, that we'd all be back in March, April, May, and by August this would be the first big show. I don't think it'd be the first one. But, it's in the turn of the new year. So hopefully Christmas time, a lot of people buy Clang tickets. And the truth is, we just want to put on a big show. Nobody's making money here. We just want this to happen. We want to show that we can pull 1,000 people. And we want to get as many Irish bands back onto that bill as we possibly can. I mean, that's what it's all about.
So originally, Rob, the tickets were $49.99, and I think it was 16 bands and 2 stages, and there was a metal market. So you revised all that.
Yeah, we had to de-scope it. That's the best way to put it. With all the rearranging and everything that's happened, there's obviously added cost continues to pile on as things stretch out, marketing budgets, and we're not going to be able to do the second stage. So we've had to kind of downsize it a bit, and we're hoping that over the next 10 months, we can build that back up.
So who is advising you to downsize it?
Well, it wasn't advice. It was more, it had to happen, from a management perspective. In my life, I have things going on. So we were ready to run this festival in 2020. We were ready to run it in 2021.
Mm-hmm.
Now it's pushed out another 10 months. It gets much more difficult. There's so many different elements that we're juggling around here to make this happen and to get the bands involved and the added expense and time. We said, you know what? The only thing that matters is that this gig happens and that we get some Irish bands up on that stage. That's it. We're not going to get 10, 12 Irish bands in. We can't do it. We can't manage it. Not this time. Wow. So we just made a decision, to go out, talk to the bands that we wanted to that we had invited in, and say, look, we're going to downsize it as of now. In the next 10 months, if we get that second stage back and we can get the people to work that for us, or we can hold some promotional nights like at the Academy or at Fibbers, we're going to bring these bands back and use them for that. But that's kind of a work in progress.
Yeah. Yeah. Like, I was just going to say that, Howard is in the Magnapina and Partholon now, just for example. So if we'll say Partholon was one of those bands that was originally announced, what was the dialogue between bands that way? Irish bands? What
I did was I spoke to all the bands. So I called them all and I just laid it on the line. I said, look, we were very ambitious and we had the time and the personnel and the money to go with 15 or 16 bands and 2 stages and all of that. But we're really in a position now where if we want this to happen, we need to have a smaller number of bands. We can make sure we can deliver this event strongly. So at the moment, we're going to have to reduce the number of bands. It's as simple as that. And it's a tough conversation to have because nobody wants to do that. And we still have Irish bands on the bill, but not as many as personally we'd like.
And yet to be announced, obviously, as well.
Yet to be announced. Yeah, I can announce 2 tonight later if you want, but the others we're holding in reserve. So we do still have Irish bands that are going to be on the main stage, and they're going to be opening for one of them is going to be opening for Coroner. So we're still doing it, but not at the grander scale that we would like. But having said that, and I can't promise anything, but in the next 10 months. If we start to sell 1,000 tickets, we can get that second stage back. We want to keep you on the list. If you're interested, Howard, we'd like to keep you on our list. And that's the truth. We would. Yeah. And we're also going to be having some promotional nights. At least 2 are in the works where we're going to get 2 or 3 bands up to do, short sets, T-shirt giveaways, that kind of thing. And if you're interested, we'll put you on for one of those as well. So we'll still give them a showcase. So the showcase is still there for them, but it won't be on the big stage like we would have liked it to be. So.
And would those bands, for example, now that are appearing on Clang that you're yet to announce, will they all get a fee as well for appearing?
Oh, everyone gets paid. Yeah,
okay.
Absolutely. Oh yeah. Oh no, we're not asking anyone to play for free. We're not.
No, I don't know. That's what I'm asking.
Oh no, I don't mind. Yeah, no, I think if you're getting up on stage, you need to be earning something. And we're also not selling any merch. So I know I have a shirt on and all that, but we're not selling any merch. We're going to have merchandise tables set up, but it's only for the bands that are there. So we're not competing in any way with the merch sales. In fact, we want to promote that. We're going to be giving away a signed guitar by Coroner. We're going to be giving away, backstage meet and greets and things like that. So it'd be kind of a fun festival feel to it, but we want the bands that are there are going to get paid. And in fact, we have an incentive system in place as well. So as we hit certain thresholds in sales of 1,000 tickets, 1,500 tickets, whatever, the bands get paid more.
And Rob, can I ask, have you been met with much cynicism?
Oh, come on, Howard. We're in Ireland, of course.
How do you feel about it? I'm just trying to think it from my own perspective. This is my 25th year being involved in music in Cork and so on and so forth. Sure. I've seen it come and go so many times. And there have been people like yourself pop up in the past. And it's, when I was younger, I get excited about it. But as I get older, I just get more and more cynical and sort of worried for the person that's taking these things on.
Sure.
Haven't taken these things on myself before. And it's either insanity or genius. And I'm trying to figure out which part of the spectrum we're landing in here,
Well, I would agree with you, Howard. I'll answer that question in a second. But one of the reasons we're downsizing is because we know this event has to happen. And we can't be too ambitious. And we were ambitious. And at the time, it would have worked. And now we just don't have the resources to do it. So I agree. Number one, the event has to happen. When it happens and the Irish bands get up there and they own the night and all that, it's going to be great. Do people begrudge? Sure. Should they be cynical? Absolutely. I mean, I've been living here 24 years, so I know. I went to Ozfest and Ozzy didn't show up. Like I'm as jaded as they come. And I know even the band Curran that we have booked, I've heard stories that they were booked before and the whole thing kind of went to hell. And people thought I might have been the same person or the same group or whatever. So yeah, there's a lot of cynicism, and that's fine. Let's just put on a great gig and and then the next time that's what I keep selling to my people as well. Once we get this gig done, once we get over the hump, now we have some establishment. Now we can get more Irish bands on there, and we can make sure this thing happens the way we want it to happen.
Yeah, and what
great
was
hope for you, but man, it's just like that now. I'm being beaten down by this kind of stuff over the years, and it's not personally to yourself, Rob. You really do seem to have your head on your shoulders in terms of the project management side of things and realizing that you're taking risks. I guess my worry would be for you yourself. I mean, it just seems like such a big undertaking, and I really hope it works out. I do genuinely.
Good. Good to hear that. Yeah.
The experience that I've had in the past would tell me that you're taking a big chance, Rob, a real big chance. You know?
Well, that's what it's about. Look, we want to support.
And I don't know whether to applaud you or have a chat with you.
Wait till March 27th. Wait till the next day. Then you can have a beer with me. We can either cry or we can laugh. That's how it's going to be. Look, at the end of the day, it all comes down to, will people come out and support Irish metal? Yes or no? They
will if there is a lot of Irish bands on the bill. First of all.
Well,
but then again, going to up to Dublin to see gigs. Okay, so you'd have a European band on, and there'll be an Irish band support. Okay, I'm talking about Voodoo here.
Sure.
So I would say, personally, I'm always there for that support band, but I would say 6 times out of 10. A lot of the support bands are missed. People are only interested in seeing the headlining act. That's my experience in Dublin, in the Voodoo. The likes of Jesus Christ, Sodom, Destruction, all those bands come in. There would be Irish bands supporting them, but would people appear for that support band? I'm looking around, it's half empty at that stage. Yeah. Everybody is out in the fucking smoking room or having beers at the bar, and it's just really frustrating. So that's what I take from it as well. It's just okay, so you're pushing the Irish band thing, and you really want really good Irish bands on that can perform live and that have the respect amongst the scene itself. Taking a gamble on an unknown band is pretty dodgy, especially the scene itself. How many Irish bands that are particularly brilliant, Howard? There's quite a few, and they're the ones.
You're talking about, even with those types of bands, Richie, when you put on 4 or 5 in the likes of Fibbers, let's say, and you're still hoping against hope that you're going to have a crowd there to appreciate it. And at that level, it's very hard to see that transition up. I mean, the added bonus of the likes of Curran and so on is fantastic. As a standalone gig, that just seems like a great gig, you know? I mean, there's nothing to lose by putting Irish bands on there either, I guess, is the other side of it. But
I don't have the answer for you either. I've been to plenty of gigs.
Nobody does, and this is where you get into the frustration of it, I think. Nobody knows, but just from experience in past, I mean, the Siege of Limerick have done a fantastic job in achieving what you're talking about for the last 10 years.
Yeah.
I mean, you're talking about it's now a 3-day event, 2-a-day event where you have, cream of the crop Irish bands the whole day and a crowd there from 12 o'clock in the afternoon till closing time at night, which is fantastic. And you've the added bonus of these international headliners playing in the middle of the day from 9 o'clock to 10 o'clock and then back to local bands. I'm struggling to see where this fits in that, how that's going to be a step, because this does seem like it's an attempt as a step up, which is great.
Well, not yet. As I said,
I'm wondering how you've envisaged that when you compare it to the likes of Siege of Limerick. Where does it lie in that context,
Well, I don't know if you can compare, because this is year zero for us. But like I said, the number one thing is that this gig happens, and it's Candlemas, Coroner, Green Long, and so forth, and we're going to put the Irish bands on there to support them. The long-term vision is that those Irish bands start to get more exposure, and they start to climb higher and higher up. I certainly don't have an answer to the challenge of people not coming in early. And I've seen it a million times myself. There's 50 people in the room and everyone else is out smoking and drinking. I don't have an answer for that. We are trying to curate the event a little differently. So, we'll have the likes of the Modern Age Slavery and an Irish band, and then the next band, and then an Irish band, and then Coroner. So we're going to try to curate that a little. And that's one of the big decisions we had to make about cutting the number of bands, because we would have been starting around noon. Which, even with the second stage, we would have had bands playing concurrently and so forth, and there's just different challenges there that we can't do anymore. So now we're going to be starting around 3 or 4 in the afternoon. So it's gives them even more exposure now. So there'll be more people coming in early, more people there. We're trying to tweak it a bit, but I don't have the answers for that. And
I think having been to the National Stadium, first of all, it's a great venue. I was had my doubts about it, because I says, well, I don't know, were you at the Testament and Exodus one, Rob, were you?
No, I missed that one. It was Death Angel was there too, I think, wasn't it?
Yeah. But that was our first time going there, and it was a bit strange coming in there, because it's kind of like an oval with all the seating around it, Howard, and a lot of space.
I've seen online, but I haven't been myself.
A lot of space behind you. So I was just kind of going, does this work? But it actually did. And for Clang, I think if you do get the sales that you're hoping, Rob, I think it will work really well for you, because people can comfortably sit down if they want and watch, we'll say, the earlier bands in comfort. You know what I mean? And have a view, no matter where you are in the National Stadium, you always have a good view. Unless you're up in the gods, but I mean, you shouldn't be down.
They're not that far up, though. That's
exactly. Yeah. So I mean, for that point alone, I think it's good, because it encourages people to stay there, if you know what I mean, the way it's built. Because there's, with the voodoo, there's the smoking room, there's outside.
There's a few different.
There's a lot of distractions that can filter crowd out different directions. The Academy as well. Whereas I think with the National Stadium, you get your point and you can stand or sit and watch the bands play. So,
I love the venue. We've had a lot of pressure to change venue as well, but I love it. And that's one of the reasons we stripped out the whole market stalls and all the food carts outside and everything else, because we just want everyone to stay in for this, so we're not going to have that wandering around feature any longer. So,
And I suppose that was like the logic of that was probably going to European festivals with all those market stalls. Did you pick that up there, Rob?
Yeah, we were going to have 2 stages as well, and we had an option to do one inside or outside, so depending on the weather. So if the weather was there, we'd have an outside stage, we'd have all the food trucks there, and more of a festival atmosphere. Again, this is year zero, so it's very small scale. But we just thought, no, this isn't going to be workable. Like I said, let's have this gig happen. It's Candlemas, Coroner, Green Long, and a great slate, and we're going to be peppering in these Irish bands in between these guys, and let's just put on a great gig. I mean, that's it. So we've shrunk it down a little bit, but I do like the venue. It's kind of old school, and kind of reminds me of 90s venues. A bit too dirty and a bit too loud, but every seat is a great seat.
What's the capacity of it?
The actual full capacity is 2,200.
Okay.
We're only looking for 1,000, so hopefully, we can promote this a bit, and Candlemas will sell 500 tickets, and Coroner will sell the other 500. We'll see. We'll wait and see, Howard. I'm hopeful, but cynical as well.
But I'm sure there's bands watching now at the moment, Rob, who are probably wondering, with the promotion of Irish bands on it, how do they get in touch? What's the criteria for them to be chosen to play on Clang? So if year zero is going ahead and then you're
Or
on the
promotional nights as well, for example.
Yeah,
Well,
so
I'll tell you.
So do you have a structure in place for bands to get in touch with you, or is it just a case of you pick them yourself?
Oh, no, absolutely. I mean, like I said, we started this journey a long time ago. So we've been kind of building up a list of agents and reps and band contacts and things like that. So, no, they can contact us at clangmetalfestival.com or info@clangmetalfestival.com. And we've put an inventory of bands already, which is great. But yeah, but to basically contact us, absolutely. I mean, this festival is locked down for now. And if we do expand it out a little bit, we're going to be going back to the bands we already spoke to. So there are no new submissions at the moment. But we're already looking at 2023 at this stage. But only looking. So
yeah, and Dublin, being Dublin, was it always the National Stadium?
No. In fact, we were looking at a number of different venues, in outdoor venues as well. So that's a long story. I could take up another hour on the whole process of venues, venue selection. I mean, there's so many facets involved in venue selection, from, security and parking and permits and everything else. But the National Stadium is a nice little venue. I really like it, and the management there have again been extremely flexible. Now, I know we're all suffering from COVID, and people might say, well, of course they're going to reschedule, but they don't have to. And they do have their calendars filling up. And all the Irish bands, and especially the bigger ones like Candlemass and Curran, have been great. The fact that they rescheduled was 3 or 4 times. National Stadium's been great. Security company's been great. Sound guy's great. Like, everyone is really bending over backwards. So we all want it to happen.
Well, it's a big positive to see the likes of Candlemass and Curran are actually continue to engage and reconfirm over and over again. It shows they have some sort of confidence in what's happening, which is great to hear, because it takes a lot of the questions out of my cynical mind.
Well, that's it. They're doing videos for us, and they're promoting on social media, and they're
pretty invested in the show, really, aren't they?
They really are, and they're restructuring, and they're on to us, and they're communicative, and it's been great. So, and like I said, Tommy is going to sign a guitar for us from Coroner, and we're going to be.
Did you choose the headliners, Rob?
I can't take full credit. I'd like to say yes, but actually, my other partner in crime who's involved in this. He's an enormous Coroner fan, and they've never played here, which I didn't realize. I couldn't believe they'd never played here. So they were pretty excited. They're like, "Yeah, we'll come to Ireland." Wanting to do that for 30 years. So he kind of had a lot to do with getting Coroner on board. I'm a big Acid Rain fan. So we had them on board, and then we had some scheduling conflicts and a few other, so it didn't work out with all the rescheduling, unfortunately. And Candlemass, I think we got lucky. They were nominated for a Grammy, and it was around that time of the Grammys where we originally signed them, right when they were I think they were going to the Grammys that week.
Yeah, they did. It was a big ghost. Was it Enter Sandman or something? A few Metallica covers there at that Grammys.
Yeah, I think that sounds right. Yeah. But I mean, to get a Grammy-nominated artist who
would be your bucket list dream headliner, Rob? If you had no budget whatsoever, and you just had band you could
pick. Don't say Ghost.
I get a lot of heat over that, and I'm going to stand over it.
Man, I fucking love Ghost. I fucking love him. I don't care who knows it.
I heard of them. I knew them.
Eurovision band.
We'll go back and forth on this. I'll tell you, I was at Wacken in 2019, and they played at like 3 a.m, and they just blew everybody away. They owned it. They were fantastic.
That's because everybody was drunk and emotional at that stage.
That's true. That's true. It was 90 degrees out or 45 degrees. But no, my dream, I mean, there's really only one, and I never got to see him. But if I could get Dio, if I could resurrect him and bring him back,
how bad the old holograph? Is it?
Yeah, the fucking holograph.
No, yeah, it's true though. But I'd bring him back. If I could, whether he's in Rainbow or Sabbath or on his own, I couldn't care less. I'd get in on stage, and Maiden. I'm a big Maiden fan, and I'd love to get Ginger as well. I'm a big Ginger fan.
Yeah, they're actually cool. Yeah.
I'd mix it up a little bit, with
That's possible, man. Ginger, yeah.
Ginger,
it's not impossible. So hopefully they're listening.
They played Fred's maybe 7 years ago or something. Maybe, am I reading that right? I think that happened.
I saw them supporting some crowd as well. But they definitely played Limerick. I know that.
I think they played Cork the night before. I could be wrong now, but Jesus, it's the female fronted band we're talking about here. Yeah. I'm pretty sure I saw them in Fred's there about 7 years ago. They were amazing.
Maybe. Well, that'd be my bucket list. Dio, Maiden, Ginger, and there's too many after that.
Mm-hmm.
What about the name, Rob? Did you come up with that?
Yeah. Well, again, I'm going to take credit for, because, or I'll take the heat.
Depends. Take the heat, maybe.
Some people hate it. No, I'll tell you. You might remember I mentioned earlier that I kind of work these things out over months. I don't jump into anything very quickly, and I could not, even though the decision was made that we were going to put on a festival, we didn't have a name. We couldn't figure it out. And everything that was presented to me was no. I just didn't like any of it. And we're out one night, and my girlfriend had said to me, she goes, well, tell me about metal. Like, where did it all come from? Where did it start? Blah, blah. So we started talking about things, and I started talking about Judas Priest and, their kids in the classroom and the metal factory across the way. I don't know if you probably heard these stories about Judas Priest. I don't know if they're true or not, but they used to hear the metal clanging together and all this sort of stuff. And she went, that's it, Clang. I went, oh, well, maybe. But then after a while, it grew on me. And I have to say, if you want to talk about cynicism and begrudgery, it's around the name more than anything else, I think. I don't know if it's a good or bad decision, but we're living with it, and that's it.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, it depends on how the gig goes. If the gig goes great, it'll be the best name ever,
Yeah.
That's it. You want to rub my face in the dirt afterwards? I'll take it. I'll take the heat.
Because, it came out of the blue, and I know you got Oren involved, and you described that very well. Because when it came out of nowhere, it was Rob with Clang. And
all right,
we were all just going, who the hell is Rob? And what the hell is Clang? Is this, as Howard said, like being going to gigs for fucking, 35 years? And then just going, okay, so someone is winding us up here now, and we'll wait and watch with interest. And it turns out it was actually genuine.
Yeah, I know. We could have handled that a little bit better, I have to say.
Well, man, do you know what? As I said, you explained yourself perfectly well, and you got Oren involved, so steadied the ship, and it's been all positive really since. Yeah,
no, he's an enormous help, and I have to say he's just short of me slapping me in the head once in a while, But I listen to him, and I encourage other people to listen to him as well. So
I think it's really important to listen to what people are telling you who know. And if Oren is backing you here in this one, then it seems like he's got confidence in you, and the bands are communicating with you. It seems like they have confidence in you. I'm very hopeful for you, Rob. I really am.
Good, thank you.
I really want you to do well in it. I'll suspend my cynicism.
No, you can keep it, but I want you. If anyone gets anything from this, it's not me doing well. I'm going to go on one way or the other. I just want this event to happen. I want it to be one hell of a gig. I'm going to be down there on the floor with everybody when this thing goes on.
I suppose, just to clarify, Rob, my worry would be for you. The gig will take care of itself. It'll either be a success or not. It's just taking this kind of thing on it's a tough undertaking, and it's a brave undertaking. It's almost borderline stupid, but it's definitely insane. And I think
just describe me to a T.
Yeah, so. And this is it, and you're fitting into that skin perfectly. You know what? No fucking better man to give it a shot. I really, really, if it goes ahead, I'll be there myself to support, and we'll have a few beers afterwards in the chat.
Great.
But I sincerely want this to go well for you. I really do. I really do.
Thank you.
But just mind yourself and listen to your friends.
Oh, I will. Believe me, I'm one to take direction. I take the coaching, as we say in football.
And now let's get to this announcement. Have you got 2 Irish bands that?
Well, yeah, we have more, but I'd be more than happy to say that Words That Burn will be on stage.
Excellent.
Quarter and Candlemass and Green Lung, and the Risen Dread.
Okay, excellent.
confirmed as well. So I
That's
can
good
get
news.
some. We're really looking forward to seeing them.
Yeah. I think Words of Burn might have an album out at that stage as well.
That's right. Oh, there'll be a lot of PR coming out. I'm going to leave that to Oren. I'm not going near it because I made a mess of it the first time. So that'll all be announced, and there'll be a few more announcements coming up as well to show that we really are supporting Irish metal. Maybe not to the degree that we originally wanted to, but behind everything that happens, that's the driving force. That's what we're all about.
Yeah, and I think you needed to come on the show to explain that as well.
Well, I'm delighted you had me on here. I really am. So I really appreciate you taking the time, and I hope I can clear up a few things here and there as well. So
yeah, I mean, as I said, Howard is convinced anyway, and is worried about your personal health as well. So
mental well-being.
I mean, it's all good. Like for complete strangers, we'll certainly be having a few beers.
Absolutely.
At Clang on the night anyway, 100%.
Oh, for sure.
We have a nice VIP section, so we'll get you in.
Don't go down that route. So Rob from Clang, thanks a million for coming on the show. Listen, we wish you nothing but success. You've explained yourself very well, and I'm sure anybody that had any questions, I think you've answered them. Would that be fair enough, Howard?
I think so. I mean, Rob, fair play to you. Like I said, a mix of insanity, bravery and stupidity. I love it. And the very best of luck to you. And it seems like you've got some good people around you, and I hope that stays that way up to the March 27th next year.
You need a good team, 100% on that one.
Yeah, they inspire confidence in me, so that's why I'm able to be so relaxed for now. But yeah, look, if anyone wants to contact us again, go through the website or jump on our Facebook page. You know, that's the best way to get directly in touch with us. And come out in March and support some Irish metal mixed in with a bit of Candlemass, Curran and Greenlawn.
So the tickets are on sale at eventbrite.ie, and they're $64.90 including the booking fee.
Correct, yeah. $59.99, one price gets you in. So
perfect.
Okay. So you've been listening to The Metal Cell. Thanks again, Rob. Thanks again, Howard, for coming on the show. Hit that subscribe button. And here's Ruben in. Hit the photo bomb.
Back from rugby training, and support your local metal scene.
There you go.
Good night.
Good night, everyone. Thank you.